Hello and welcome to episode number 129 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we're talking about Night Call. We're going to try 2 limited edition items, look at this week's new releases, and we're going to preview a great week of streams over on twitch.tv/SeanHorseRex. We'll start this week's show with Night Call, which is a game that I keep calling Late Shift, which is a different game, and I keep confusing myself, so I keep pausing, and I'm like, is that the right thing? And then I have to think of the song from Drive, where it's like, I'm giving you a night call, and then I can't sing anymore because they'll copyright it because it was just too good of a sing job by me. Night Call is a game that is available on Xbox Game Pass, and it's something that I've been curious about leading up to it because of what it is. Basically, it's a detective game where you play as a taxi driver trying to solve the mystery of a killer. And this is one of the trickier games to review because I feel so very meh about it. There's some stuff that I like about it, but there are also several things that really drag it down and make it an experience that when I got done with the one case that I completed and finished, I was like, I'm good. I only played one of the 3 cases available in this game, and I was a little unclear on the setup initially of this game. You have the option to pick between 3 different cases, but I don't think it's clear enough in that, like, is it 3 separate cases, or is it the same case but maybe there are more suspects or there's more going on? Because if you pick the one on the left, which is what I picked, the case that I picked had a little notation that seemed like it was pointing you in the direction of like, hey, this is the easy case because it's going to push you in the direction a little easier to find out who the killer is, whereas the other one that was on the right, the presumably hardest one of the 3, was talking about how it's a little more disconnected. The evidence is a little more disconnected, and it's a little harder to pinpoint exactly who it is. But I'm still not 100% sure if it's 3 separate cases or maybe they just put more suspects in there and try and throw you off. I don't really know. That part wasn't super well explained. So the case I picked was hunting down the judge, and you're introduced to your taxi driving character as he's just working his normal night shift. He gets attacked, ends up going into a coma for 2 weeks. He wakes up. The game advances another month forward, and he's back in the driver's seat, ready to just resume his life. He just wants to get on with it, get back to his normal routine of doing the night call taxi service stuff. He is unfortunately rudely, I would say, interrupted by a kind of generic, like, corrupt cop type who's like, hey, if you don't do this for me, I'm going to sign a couple of papers. I'm going to make sure you never see the light of day for the next 10 years because I have that kind of power. So you're going to help me and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's kind of like bland, but like, all right, we're going to try and help her find the serial killer. She knows that you can use your abilities as a taxi driver to get close to people, and your character apparently has the ability to get people to talk and maybe say things they wouldn't normally to other people. That part kind of like comes and goes. I don't really know, but it's a cool setup, and I like the idea of kind of a detective style sort of thing where you're trying to hunt down the killer and can you put the clues together to figure out who it is. I was able to find the killer pretty easily. The case that I did seemed like it really made it easy to at least make an educated guess on who the killer would be, and made it really easy to eliminate a couple of suspects because their stuff just didn't line up. It just, like, it's tempting to look at one suspect because they have a lot of stuff, a lot of things that kind of tie them to it, but none of it really ties together. This is where my criticisms start to show up. The game is pretty simple. You have a map of Paris, which is where the game is set, and you, as the taxi driver, you need to drive around the city and pick up fares and kind of, I guess, hope that you pick up a character or passenger that will actually help you push the case forward. And this was really frustrating. This review actually kind of breaks down, like a lot of the reviews I've been doing lately on the game side, it breaks down into 2 parts, and it's day 1 and day 2 of when I was streaming this. I played for about 2.5 hours on the first day, and at the end of it, I wasn't really feeling the game all that much because it's very hit or miss on whether you're even going to pick up a passenger that's going to help you move the case forward, and that can be frustrating. If you miss, then it becomes hit or miss on whether or not the character you pick up, or the passenger you pick up, I keep saying character, but I mean passenger. The passenger you pick up, are they interesting or not? And on that first day, it was more often not interesting than it was interesting. They seem to be going for this kind of weird, like, grounded sort of storytelling in some ways, but sometimes the characters you pick up are a little bit out of the ordinary. Like you pick up like a robot at one point, or I picked up a robot at one point, and then you pick up Santa Claus at one point, and neither of those conversations were very interesting. And so it's this thing where it's just kind of dragging the game along, where I feel like I should be making progress somewhere else, but I'm stuck in this conversation that's not fun and not engaging and not interesting. And because that slows the pace down, I got kind of frustrated with it, where I'm like, God, I keep missing on this stuff, and it just, I'm not enjoying this. When you pick the passengers up, the game becomes a visual novel. And this part I didn't realize was happening, and I was kind of bummed when it showed up, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm really going to like this, but I've tried a visual novel this year and really fell in love with it. But this game just doesn't have the same sort of grab that the other one did. There's just a weird game mechanic that's not explained, or I missed it. One of those two happened, where sometimes the game will flash a little like gold or yellow outline around a character that's actually important to the story. It's one of the suspects or something like that. I wasn't exactly sure exactly what the connection was. A couple of them definitely were suspects, but I don't know if that was necessarily the case 100% of the time. I feel like I'm not explaining this very well, but we're going to push through it. These are the most frustrating games to review because I don't love it and I don't hate it. It sits so firmly in this just like meh category that it becomes kind of annoying to talk about. Fortunately, though, that mechanic I did kind of pick up on the second day, and it was a little bit easier to push the story forward. I also found one of the characters actually kind of interesting, and so every time I saw her on the map without an opportunity to push the case forward, I always made sure to go pick her up. She was a film buff. She was engaging enough to kind of just pull me through the rides that weren't really helping the story all that much. Also on the map, sometimes you have little eyeballs that you can go to, and they aren't fairs, but they're locations you can go specifically to get new information. Sometimes you talk to somebody, like in a conversation, but in like a private area. There's one time I went to a gun shop to give or to show a piece of evidence to someone to say like, hey, where would this come from? How can I get more information? One time it was like a back alley meeting where I had to pay like 250 euros to get a piece of information from someone. Those help push the mission forward. The game is broken down into 7 individual nights. Every night you have a set timer up in your top right hand corner, and you also have to keep track of the gas gauge, which I thought was interesting. Every trip takes a certain amount of time. Once you run out of time on the clock, that's it. You're done for the night. You retire to your apartment. You put up any new clues that you may have found that night, and you try to figure out who the killer was. It's a pretty simple gameplay mechanic and gameplay loop. I liked that you had to keep track of the gas gauge. I don't know why. I just thought it was a nice little touch. The stuff in the room, the corkboard that you work with that has all the clues, I think it does it for you, because I didn't really see an option to try and connect the dots yourself. It was kind of just the game kind of pushing you, and once you got enough, it would kind of link things together for you. I never felt like I got a ton more information than I already had. I just kept picking up bad passengers that weren't helping, and I don't know, it just wasn't the most engaging game. I also did notice on the second day that the writing was actually really annoying to me. In between the characters' conversations, in parentheses, they'll put like the actions of the characters, like a heavy silence sank over the taxi cab while both characters thought about the previous conversation, something like that. But there's a really annoying tick that I noticed that this particular writer has, and it is comparable to Star Trek, in that they describe a scenario. Like I just said, silence falls over the cab. But for some reason, like, they don't trust that the people are going to understand what that means. So then they explain it. Like a hush had just fallen over a crowd as the home team lost on a walk-off home run or something like that. And it's like this very weird thing that I didn't notice initially, but it continued to repeat itself. And Star Trek does that a lot, where they give some like a very sciencey explanation. And I always think of the Futurama line where Fry's like, "In the air blowing up a balloon," and this idea that they have to explain it complexly and then immediately have to explain it in layman's terms really plagues this game, and it drove me nuts. It was a surprisingly annoying writer's tick that I haven't really noticed in a game before, but this one specifically got under my skin where I kept reading and I kept going, oh my god. Like, I get it. I understand what you mean when you say that a silence fell over the cab. I get that. You don't need to explain further. I don't know. It may not bother you, but it really bothered me. And that's kind of where I'm leaving this. I don't have strong feelings for this game. I think it is very okay. I don't think it's necessarily a bad game. I don't think it's a very good game. I also think it's a game that just doesn't really click with me. I thought it was kind of a cool setup and a cool premise, but I don't think it's executed super well. I didn't find the conversations to be consistently engaging enough, regardless of whether they were pushing the narrative forward or not. I just grew kind of tired and annoyed with it over the course of the game. It took me about 5 hours to complete the one case that I completed. I don't plan on going back, but it's definitely not a Sean Ass game. Now that we're done with our night call taxi shift and we have solved the mystery of the first killer, we can try some limited edition items. One of them is specifically a limited edition item. It says so on the box. The other one is just a weird, I'm assuming, limited edition item, bizarre kind of tie-in thing. So we'll start first with the more normal of the two, and we've reviewed a couple of different variants of these before, and I'm very excited about it. I picked it up a little bit too early, but we have Fran's strawberry lemonade limited edition donuts. I've reviewed a bunch of the Fran's donuts on here. I typically like them. I really like the apple and the lemon were very good. We've had some strawberry donuts in the past that were from a different company. I think they were from Hostess. And I have high hopes for these because I like strawberry and I like lemonade and I like strawberry lemonade. And these have been good in the past. So there's a lot riding on these. These have high hopes, high expectations. So we'll go ahead and crack these open. Haven't opened them. I will say, the limited edition gods smiled upon me when I went to Safeway on, it must have been Friday night. And I went into the store and I went in with a list of 4 items, and I got so distracted that I forgot to buy half of those items and instead walked out with these 2 items. I was hoping that story would fill enough time for me to open this box, but it currently isn't. So, please, I just want food. Please open. Okay. Alright. Here we go. I ripped that open a lot more than I anticipated I would. Alright. Here we go. They have a nice pink hue to them. They look very good. They, I guess, they mostly just smell like regular donut. This is going to break in my hand if I'm not careful. They mostly smell like regular donut. I think the frosting is overpowering everything. It makes me a little bit nervous. Apparently they started to melt here. They're interesting. I think you can taste the lemonade aspect of it, but I don't think that the strawberry really comes through. There's not much of a hint of that. It's just mostly regular Fran's donut, which is unfortunate because their lemon donuts are actually quite good. There's a look at the inside. Very pink donut. The lemons are so good. I was so excited about these. These are kind of a bummer. I did put them up to like a pretty high... They had high expectations, so not entirely the donuts' fault. Part of it's my fault by being like, man, these could be amazing, and then kind of disappointing on maybe not the fairest of goals or levels into expectations. I don't know where to go with that, but we can eat another part of this donut. Yeah, these aren't great. You can definitely taste the lemonade. I look like I'm taking in a call. Yeah, Bob, you can definitely taste the lemonade, but the strawberry doesn't really come through, and it does definitely taste mostly like regular donut. They're fine. I had high expectations for them. They're not terrible. I just think that there have been other donuts of both a lemon and a strawberry variety that putting these together, it's not better than either of the separates. You would be better off just making a little donut sandwich of a lemon and a strawberry donut and just eating that, because that would be better. So there we have the normal item. Now we get to try the weird item. And the weird item is, and I'm very thankful that I was able to find this in America because I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to. We have Wendy's Baconator Pringles. To which my brother replied, "This is just a terrible concept from the start." This one says limited time only. Okay, that's fair. That's a limited edition thing. I did not notice that. We have these. They are interesting. This is more the limited edition item that I normally just buy because I think it's funny and kind of dumb. I'll be honest, I don't think the Baconator is a great burger or sandwich from Wendy's. It has too much bacon. We live in a weird piece of American history where everyone thinks that bacon should go on everything and it should be a lot of it, and this one just has way too much bacon and I never like it. So I usually get like a Baconator Junior, and even then I'm like, nah, this isn't great. So naturally, the chips can't be terrible, can they? Oh god. By the way, I think there's like a code or something here. So we'll crack them open. We have a little Wendy on the top here. Crack them open. Give them a little smell test. Oh boy. Okay. So we're gonna grade this on two levels. Level number 1, they smell a lot like a Wendy's Baconator. Level number 2, that makes me want to puke. I don't know why, but it just, like, it hit me and I was like, I don't like this. It could also be that I just ate part of a donut, like a half a donut, and now I'm going to switch to this. Maybe that's not the best transition thing. They're also pretty normal looking chips. You could probably almost confuse someone into thinking these were just regular Pringles. Boy, I took another. I don't know why. I don't know why it's bothering me, but it is. Oh my god. So again, we'll work on the 2-level portion of this thing. Level number 1, they're gross. They're very bad. Level number 2, I don't think they actually really taste like a Baconator. They taste heavily peppery to me. I don't think they taste good, but I also don't think they're accurate as to what they are going for. I tried 2 of them just to double check. I got a lot of pepper out of it, and I just did not enjoy that at all. So, yeah. I don't know why these exist. I feel like I saw them online, and I kind of just assumed that, like, through the website I saw them, they were kind of an out-of-the-country thing, but I'm glad that they're here in America so that I can make content with them. But boy, they're bad. Oh god, they are bad. Ugh. So get these for a limited time only. Don't. They're very bad. Finally, on this week's show, we'll take a look at the new releases this week. There's nothing in theaters or streaming. There's nothing on Blu-ray. However, there are 5 games coming out this week that I want to make note of because they're very exciting. Ghost of Tsushima is coming out. That's the new Sucker Punch game available exclusively on PlayStation 4. We have Super Hot Mind Control Delete, kind of a Ghost announcement. We knew that this game was coming out, just didn't know when, and then last week they were like, hey, it's coming out next week, and it's free if you own Super Hot, as long as you bought Super Hot. So if you got it free from Xbox Live Games with Gold, or if you got it from, I think it was like the Epic Game Store thing on PC, you do not get this game for free. It's $25, but I think that's probably worth it. I loved Super Hot, and I'm very excited to try this one out. It's like a 12 to 15 hour experience, so I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get to it, but it's on the docket, and I am... Oh man, Super Hot's great. If you haven't played Super Hot, go play Super Hot, because it's awesome. Also out this week is a short story-based game called We Should Talk, based around conversations and text messages with people. I'm really intrigued with what that is. They said it was a short game. There are like 9 different endings, and I'm excited to try that out. We also get Ooblets, which is a game that's finally releasing in early access on PC and on Xbox, so that's very exciting. I've been following this game for a very long time, and it's here, and we'll get to try that out on Wednesday. And finally, the game that I am most excited about, my most anticipated game of the quarter, Paper Mario, the Origami King. I can't wait to play this game. I am so excited for a new Paper Mario on the Switch. Comes out Friday. And conveniently, that leads directly into this week's big week of streams. I'm very excited about what I have scheduled this week. And it starts on Wednesday. It's going to be an early start, probably 4:30 or 5, somewhere in there. And we're going to check out Ooblets for the first 2 hours of the stream. Then around 6:30 or 7, depending on when the stream starts, we'll switch over to Grab Bag and do Season 2, Episodes 5 and 6. So we'll continue that. We've been getting some good stuff. We got 50 Cent Bulletproof last week. It was fantastic. The game wasn't great, but it was a great video. And then there is another big stream on Thursday. Uncle Rico makes his triumphant return in Road to the Show's Rise of a Legend mode that I've been doing on a week-to-week basis. We're finally through the All-Star break, and we have I believe it's a double start week this week. Then we're revealing the September Mascot Madness 2020 bracket that is happening in between Uncle Rico's Road to the Show and Paper Mario. Will be playing it when it launches. So 3 games that we'll be checking out and tinkering around with. I'm very excited for the stream. It's going to be packed. It's going to be awesome. Going to try and start that about 6 and then do the bracket reveal around 7:30 and then right about 9, barring any sort of issue with the digital copy of Paper Mario. We'll be jumping right into Paper Mario, the Origami King, as soon as we can. And I can't wait to check it out. And that's going to carry us through the weekend. We'll be playing Paper Mario on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday if we're not quite done with it yet. Might splash in some Ooblets or some baseball or some other things in there as well. But yeah, it's going to be a great week of streams. I'm very excited because there's lots of really great stuff coming out, and I can't wait to check it out. So hopefully you'll join me over on twitch.tv/Shaunosaurus Rex. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Week in Review. If you like the content, you can scroll on down and hit that subscribe button and then ring the bell so you know when I post new videos. Then, when you're done with doing that, you can scroll on down. You can leave me a comment down below. You can let me know what you think of Night Call or the Strawberry Lemonade Donuts or the Baconator Pringles that we tried today. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to head on over to twitch.tv/Shaunosaurus Rex for the streams on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, depending on how far we are in Paper Mario, the Origami King. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, which means you have a free Twitch sub that you can use on twitch.tv/Shaunosaurus Rex, should you so choose. And then be sure to check back every Tuesday right here for more Week in Review. We'll see you next week.